This week on The Swing, we've got complete coverage of the recent Tap House controversy. Senior reporter Grace Elkus tells us about the reaction to the story she wrote. We talk to news editor Kassondra Cloos and managing editor Rebecca Smith about what has happened since the story was published, as well as editor-in-chief Anna Johnson to get her opinion on the matter. And Julia Boyd asks students what they think about the story. Welcome to The Swing. I'm Emily Herring. This week, because of finals approaching and scheduling conflicts, we had to shoot The Swing earlier than we typically would, Sunday instead of Tuesday. In our interview with Kassondra Cloos, Rebecca Smith, and Anna Johnson, it's mentioned that Dean of Student Life Smith Jackson had not responded to questions. We've had one development since then. Dr. Jackson did respond to our questions, stating that students should consider remaining anonymous in situations which contain controversial subject matter. For the full story, check out this week's edition of the paper. A recent story in the Pendulum about a local bar, College Street Tap House, has caused controversy on Elon's campus. Several students spoke about underage drinking, and one student, sophomore Hillary Stevenson, told the Pendulum she has used a fake ID to get into Tap House. Grace Elkus, who reported this story, has been getting lots of feedback about her process for investigating, and she's here with us today. Thanks for coming, Grace.
Yeah, of course.
So what originally interested you in doing this story?
Well, we had heard that there's, some underage drinking going on at this bar right off of Elon's campus. So that originally interested us, but, we knew that that goes on at a lot of places. So when we started investigating, that's really where the story took off, when we found out that, the campus police and the Elon Town Police both thought that the other station was the one that monitored the bar. And then it just turned into a lot of confusion about who was actually monitoring the bar and, why there seemed to be a lack of security there.
So there was a miscommunication between them.
Right, exactly, and between, the owner of the bar and Gerald Whittington here at Elon.
So what was the reporting process like?
Well, I knew I definitely needed to get some strong quotes from students talking about their experience at Tap House, and so I wanted to talk to both students that were underage, who have seen this occurring at Tap House, but also seniors who, might be the ones that are frustrated that all this does, go on at a bar that they enjoy going to as well. So when I talked to a lot of sophomores who are underage, everyone that's quoted, in the Pendulum denied, being anonymous and, explicitly said, you can use my name for this story. And so I wanted everyone that I talked to be really honest in their response, and that's why I gave everyone the option of being anonymous. But, anyone whose name is in the paper, they denied that option and said it's okay if you use my name.
Okay, so what has the feedback been on this?
It's been interesting. There's been a lot of talk about it, and obviously, as the reporter, a lot of it has come back to me. And so, some people are questioning whether or not the Pendulum had the right to run the story, and, why all students wouldn't choose to remain anonymous. But, there's also, it's interesting that, I got the chance to write something that's actually caused a change on campus, and, at the bar, they're actually, taking some new procedures as a result of this article. So, as we go forward, I think that it's good that the Pendulum is writing something that's causing people to talk.
Hard-hitting journalism.
Exactly.
Well, thank you, Grace.
Sure.
Several editors at the Pendulum have been investigating whether Stevenson's rights were violated by the university, and we're here now with managing editor Rebecca Smith and news editor Kassondra Cloos. Anna Johnson, the Pendulum's editor-in-chief, is here to comment on the organization's position. So Anna, it seems like the Pendulum has been flying off stands these past few days. What has happened since the story was printed?
Well, the front page story came out on Wednesday, and at first the initial reaction was positive. We saw many changes at Tap House, especially Thursday night, which is one of their more popular nights. Both Campus Safety and Police and the Elon Police Department were patrolling looking for underage drinkers. And we also found out that a new set of rules for people who entered Tap House was also going to be in place. But then, unfortunately, we found out on Friday that one of the students who was quoted as having a fake ID was going to be charged by Elon University's honor code. And we see this as a blatant disregard for a public forum. We see this as hypocritical from the university who's trying to promote an atmosphere of free speech. Thus, it spurred our editorial, which went on this week's paper.
So Kassondra and Rebecca, the two of you have been working to follow up on these violations. Is there an Elon policy to charge students for comments they make after a violation has occurred?
Well, we spoke with Whitney Gregory on Friday, and she's the director of student conduct, and she said that a student can be charged for a violation of the honor code if that information has been brought to student conduct. So that means that a student, she wouldn't comment on this specific case, but because Stevenson made the comment in a public setting in the newspaper, that means it's fair game for student conduct to investigate. So if a student is talking about underage drinking in front of a professor, and that professor brings those comments to student conduct, that student could have repercussions for their comments as well. And this goes back up the chain to what you say on Facebook and Twitter, what you say in any kind of public setting, and everything you do at the university between the time you enroll at Elon and the time you graduate.
And so the honor code does basically have this overarching statement that whatever you do during this time period, you have to always follow the honor code. It doesn't matter if you're abroad, if it's summer, if you're off campus, none of that matters. However, there aren't really any sentences that specifically relate to the situation. There's nothing in the honor code about talking to media or having something published. And while there is a statement about what your actions are online, how they need to follow the honor code, there's nothing about you saying something about doing something that breaks honor code online on your Facebook or Twitter specifically. So they definitely have places where they can kind of use it and tweak it to say that a student violated honor code, but there's nothing specific in the honor code.
So now what does the administration have to say about this case?
We've contacted President Leo Lambert and Vice President and Dean of Student Life Smith Jackson. President Lambert got back to us and basically said no comment. He said that he does not comment on judicial affairs situations with students, and Dean Jackson has not yet got back to us.
Okay, so Anna, any final thoughts?
I really do think the university didn't think this one through when they decided to possibly charge Stevenson. If they're trying to promote First Amendment rights in a public forum, they're really doing a disservice to their students by punishing them for speaking out in a public forum. And the initial response was positive. I do think there will be less underage drinking at Tap House, and if these type of articles and maybe somewhat difficult conversations can take place in a public forum like the Pendulum, then the university doesn't need to actually start charging students with what they say. And if people feel strongly about this, I encourage them to not only contact Judicial Affairs, but to also contact us, because I do feel like this is a blatant disregard for their civil rights.
Okay, well thank you. Thank all of you guys for coming.
And now, Julia Boyd asks students their thoughts on this recent controversy.
Hey everyone, my name is Julia Boyd reporting for The Swing. This week I'm asking Elon students how they feel about what people say to the news media being used against them.
Well, I think to a certain degree it is unfair, because it is something you're saying to a student-run organization, and then because it's published not nationwide, but throughout the school, they're getting in trouble for it because the administration sees the newspaper.
I think obviously they can do whatever they want, but I don't think they should, because it's stupid, and it's really like going after people who are trying to give some insight to, a particular topic that is, a lot of people have interest in.
Well, we sort of live in in a society where you're innocent unless you're proven guilty, and I don't think that what you say to a media outlet to a newspaper, to Facebook or any sort of media, I don't think you can bring charges on something like that.
I don't know, it's insufficient evidence. Just saying something never makes it true, and so they should be able to have actual evidence to pull anything against people.
Professionally, I don't think you should do that. I think that you should just say, okay, change the name, maybe put John Doe, and do that. However, if someone's going to get in trouble for it, is there statute of limitations? Let's just be honest about it. So.
I think that clearly everyone has the right to free speech, but if you know that you're being interviewed, or if you know that you are going to be recorded for what you're saying, that you should definitely be careful and be aware that that's going down on paper or whatever, and that you could get in trouble for it.
Thanks for joining us here at The Swing. For the latest news, multimedia, and podcasts, check out elonpendulum.com. and pick up a paper on boxes around campus and the community. Until next time, I'm Emily Herring. Happy holidays and have a great break.